kids podcast.
You can go slow.
A kids podcast about.
Hello, my name is Ari, and I'm a producer for podcasts here at A Kids Company About. We're on a mission to empower a generation of kids through diverse storytelling. And we're doing this through podcasts like the one you're listening to right now. Check out all our books, podcasts, and classes by visiting akidscode.com. What is body image?
I don't really know what body image is, so maybe it's how people look at me or how I look at myself.
Body image is how you look at your body and how you feel about it.
Body image is the way you feel about yourself or other people.
Yeah, so body image is how we think about our own bodies. So we think about specifically how we look and how we feel and how other people see us. And that is those internal thoughts, those are body image.
Welcome to A Kid's Book About, the podcast. I'm Ari. My pronouns are they and them. I'm an editor, a researcher, and I'm your host this week. The voices you heard at the top of our show were from Blaine, Christina, Piper, and Rebecca. Each week, we talk about the big things going on in your world with a different author from our Kids Book About series.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Alexander, and I am a white, queer, fat woman who lives in a little town outside of Portland with my dog, Lucy. And I am the author of A Kid's Book About Body Image.
Queer is a word that some people part of the LGBTQ+ or lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community may use to identify themselves. Listeners, I'm so excited to have this conversation about body image with you because, well, it's been a big part of my life since I was a kid myself. I felt insecure about my body, worried that people were judging me because I'm fat or because I can't run well. As I grew up, I also found a lot of confidence in my body and who I am. Those are both examples that have to do with body image. Maybe it's been a big part of your life too. And you know what? That's absolutely normal. Because body image is for everyone with a body.
It is everything that we think about ourselves and the way we look. So it's our size, our shape, our color, our type of body. So are we muscular or are we slender? Are we, athletic, or are we, soft and squishy? What kind of hair do we have? Do we have straight hair or curly hair? What skin color do we have? Do we have parts of our bodies that maybe have been scarred or hurt or injured in our life? So we have parts of our bodies that don't work. Were we born with things that make us look different from other people? Every bit about our outside, comprises our body image. Our thoughts about every outside part of us comprises our body image.
One of the coolest things about bodies is that they grow with us as we get older. As long as we live, our bodies are changing, growing, and learning along with us. So our journey with our body image can change too.
For so many people, we struggle with it when we're young. And by the time we're older, we start to accept ourselves. For a lot of people, that's what the journey looks like. For some people, they're really happy and confident as kids and they have great body image, but then our bodies change throughout our lives. All of us, we know this, they change from the time we're born and they don't stop until we die. You can always have an opportunity to redefine your own body image. So you can decide, I'm going to learn to appreciate the new things about my body or the things that are different about my body now and get a healthier body image.
As you consider your own experience with body image, you might think about the words for your body you want to use. Sometimes people use words to describe someone's body to hurt them or to make them feel less confident. That is never okay. Other times, people can take those words that were used as weapons against them and turn them into something different.
Like, I decided to, a long time ago to like try and think of myself not as a bad person for being fat. So why would I think that fat was a bad word? Like, that was the conversation I had with myself. And so, like, I don't need, like, oftentimes when we're trying to say something, like, but we don't want to use a specific word, we come up with other words that are like cutesy or like, kind of, they don't make a lot of sense, that we call them euphemisms. And one euphemism for fat that I've heard people say, there are lots of them, but like one that's the funniest to me is fluffy. So I've met a lot of people who are like, I'm not fat, I'm fluffy. And that just makes me laugh. Like, I just laugh. I can't call myself a fluffy person. I'm just fat. Like, we can just like call it that. And I don't have to worry about being called fluffy. That doesn't make it any different. And it frankly just makes me giggle. So, yeah.
Talking about body image can bring up some strong feelings for people. Take a moment to really sit with your feelings about your body. If you're listening with a grown-up, try talking about it together. How does thinking about body image, or the way you look, make you feel?
It makes me feel a little responsible because I have to make myself look how I want.
Body image makes me feel ill, sometimes insecure about myself, and sometimes I feel not beautiful.
It makes me feel good about myself, but I know there are people out there who feel bad about themselves.
Oh, this has been a huge struggle, like, throughout my life, like mostly because of the messages I got when I was a kid. I live in a fat body, and all throughout my childhood, I was told that that is one of the worst things that you can be, is a fat person. And so anytime my body changed as a kid and got a little rounder or a little softer, that was really hard for me. I felt really negatively about my body. I felt ashamed of it, and I felt like I wasn't worthy of love or affection from other people. I felt like I, didn't deserve things like cute clothes, and other things that were hard for me to find because of my body size. And it took a lot to, really take a step back and realize that my body is just a part of the diversity of the human species. Like, humans are so diverse. There are so many different kinds of us. And one of the things that makes our species so great is all of that diversity within our species.
Some listeners might remember talking about diversity a couple episodes ago with Sharnae Gordon. Diversity means having variety represented in a group. Diversity of bodies includes all of the possible skin colors and tones, physical abilities and disabilities, and shapes and sizes of bodies. All of our bodies are unique, different, and all bodies are good.
And one of the great things about the diversity is our shapes and sizes. So, my best friend is, a tiny person. And she's been a tiny person. She's 5'1" and, a very slender human. And she's also has very dark skin. And then there's me. And oftentimes I feel like we couldn't be more different, as a white lady who's tall and big. And yet, we're both people. And we represent the diversity that exists within the human species. And so now at this point in my life, my body and the way I think about body image is just about finding that beautiful diversity and really thinking about how special it is that there are so many different people in our species, and that's such an amazing thing. And as we think about, just on a scientific level, we know that diversity is such an incredible part of success on scientific level. Like if we want our species to succeed in terms of, we want to have more humans, for the rest of history, like who are happy and healthy and, like are contributing good things to our society. Like we need all of us. And like, I have special skills, and my body does special things that like need to be passed down, right? Like my traits need to be passed down just like everybody else's. And so like, when I think about body image now, I really start to think about diversity and how important like all those differences are for all of us. And so I just really celebrate those things that make me unique and the things that I see that are unique in other people.
Right after the break, Rebecca will share a super important tool you can use when thinking about body image. Plus, she answers a question sent in by you, the listeners.
There are a lot of facts we learn every day.
Did you know that pigeons are the only bird to feed their chicks milk? Did you know that potatoes can grow on Mars?
And did you know a monarch butterfly is poisonous? And did you know a snail has more than 1,000 teeth? And did you know a dragonfly actually eats, the flies, if you hate them, they're just flying around and you hate them, they'll just actually eat them. They eat little bugs.
Dragonflies eat little bugs?
Yeah.
Nice.
But those facts lead us to a much bigger question. How do we know what we think is true is actually true? Hi, friends. I'm Ariane Nettles. I'm a journalist, a college professor, and host of Is That True? It's a kids podcast about facts. Each week, we go on a fact-checking investigation with experts and enthusiasts because when you have evidence to support your knowledge, what you know becomes even stronger. Even cooler, you are a key part of this show. We need you to make it happen. We need your facts. Maybe it's something you know about science or sports, animals or world records, history or space. There's no limit to what we can learn about. New episodes of Is That True release every Wednesday wherever podcasts are found. This is Ariane, and I can't wait to investigate with you.
Here at A Kids Company About, we make podcasts, but also books, classes, and even more for kids and families just like yours. We've got a couple new and upcoming books in our Little Book About board book series, embracing toddlerhood's most essential topics. Here's one of our authors sharing a sneak peek.
Hey, my name's Alicia, and I'm the author and illustrator of A Little Book About Grit, a new book in the series about what it means to never give up and how that superpower supercharges your growth. Learn more about A Little Book About Grit by visiting akidsco.com.
Welcome back to A Kid's Book About, the podcast. On today's episode, we're talking about body image with A Kid's Book About author Rebecca Alexander. Our listener, Christina, sent us a question.
My question about body image is, how can you feel more beautiful about your body?
Christina, thank you so much for sharing this question with us. It can take a lot of strength and bravery to talk about your feelings about your body, but I think even just talking about those feelings can be a big first step to finding confidence in your body. I want to share a quote from Rebecca's book with you that I really love. Here's the real truth. Nothing about you needs to be fixed. Your skin is the color it's supposed to be. Your muscles are the size they're supposed to be. Your hair is as curly as it's supposed to be. Your teeth don't need to be any wider than they already are. And you don't need to lose weight. You know, Christina, our bodies are awesome just the way they are. Your body keeps you alive and works with you to learn special skills and do things only you can do. You are you, and I think that's pretty cool.
So the truth is, anytime you start to think that there's something wrong with your body, something about your body that needs to be fixed, I encourage you to just ask a question of yourself right then. If you can think of it and have the presence of mind, ask, who benefits from me feeling this way? Who benefits from me thinking that my teeth would somehow be better if they were whiter, right? Ask that question. Who benefits from that? And the answer is always somebody's trying to sell me something, right? Like most of the time, you're going to end up with, oh, well, it's the teeth whitening company that wants to sell me teeth strips to make my teeth whiter for $20 a month for the rest of my life, you know? And there's nothing wrong with deciding that there's something about your body that you want to change. Absolutely. I'm totally behind that. But like, you don't need to, because there's something about you that needs to be fixed. You can change something about yourself because you want it to be different, but it's not because it was wrong and broken and needed to be fixed. Like, I just reject that. Our bodies do not need to be fixed. So if you want to change something, that's absolutely fine and it's totally up to you. And I will fight for your right to do that. But yeah, I hope that you never want to change something because you believe that there's something about you that's broken. Because I just know that's not true.
Rebecca shares how she came to write a kid's book about body image and how it feels like it was meant to be.
Jelani was sharing about his business and he was talking about different topics that he needed covered. And I just wanted to be helpful. And I said, hey, you know, if you want to write a kid's book about body image, I know that's a really like particular topic and will help a lot of people. I know some really cool people who can write that book. I can get you in touch with these famous people, these celebrities, these people with millions of followers. Like the next day came up to me and he was just like, all right, so I don't want you to say yes or no now. I want you to like go away and think about it. But I want you to write a kid's book about body image. And I was like, I immediately wanted to say no, of course, but I told him that I wouldn't say yes or no until I went away and thought about it. So the next day, after I'd taken 24 hours to think about it, and I was like, I can write that book because, you know, Jelani, like that was one of the things that he said to me. He was like, I want you to write it. I want it to be from you. And I think that you're going to do great. And like, I don't care that you don't have 1 million followers. I want you to write the book. So he believed in me and that made me believe in myself. And I'm so glad that I did it and that I didn't pass it off to somebody else because, you know, like when you do something that's meant to be, it feels easy, you know?
Right now, as this episode is coming out, a lot of kids and families are getting ready to go back to school. Some for the first time since before the COVID-19 pandemic. It may have been a really long time since you've been able to see your friends. So I want to leave you with a little piece of advice from Rebecca that might be really helpful right now in appreciating how our bodies are our homes that carry us through life.
We're all kind of coming back into the world after a year and a half of not seeing as many people and not being seen by as many people. And all of our bodies are different. They're all different than when we started. That's particularly true when we're kids, right? Because our bodies change a lot faster when we're kids. And that's like, if I could just offer one piece of advice to people that are listening, like, know that about yourself and your body. Like, it changes. It's going to change. It's going to be different. That's true for everybody you know, especially other people your age. So like everybody you're in class with, you're all coming back and you're all going to look different. Be kind to one another. Know that like people are insecure about, you know, all sorts of little things. So be kind. And if somebody tries to make you feel bad about your body, like do your best to like shut that down and not let them get to you. Because really that's what it's about. It's about knowing that your body's changing, knowing that it's going to be different, knowing that it's doing the important work of keeping you alive. Like, this has been a scary time for a lot of us. And like, we haven't known if we were going to be healthy. You know, it's like some of us have been worried. We've had friends and family who have gotten sick. And maybe some of us have, you know, had friends and family who have passed away. And those of us who have survived, like, we have our bodies to thank for it. And, you know, I just really hope that as we kind of spend more time with one another, we can spend that time appreciating our bodies and what they've gotten us through, and less time scrutinizing them for how they might look different than when we went into this.
Thank you to Rebecca Alexander, author of a kid's book about body image, for joining us today. And thanks to our very special kid voices for helping make this episode what it is.
My name is Blaine. I'm 11 years old, and I live in Oregon. My favorite thing is skateboarding, making films, and playing with my dogs.
My name is Christina. I am 12 years old, and my favorite thing is anime and Roblox.
My name is Piper. I'm 11 years old, and I live in Oregon. My favorite thing to do is volleyball, dancing, and cooking.
Thank you, listeners. If you want to be on a future episode of A Kid's Book About the podcast, or if you have a question you'd like us to consider, have a grown-up email us at listen@akidspodcastabout.com, and we'll send you the details. Today's episode of A Kid's Book About the podcast was written, edited, and produced by me, Ari Mathey, with support from Matthew Winner. This show was edited by Chad Michael Snavely and the team at Sound On Studios. Our executive producer is Jelani Memory. And this show was brought to you by A Kid's Podcast About. Follow the show on Apple Podcasts or wherever podcasts are found. And if you liked this episode, consider sharing it with a friend, teacher, or grown-up. Join us next week for a discussion about identity with A Kid's Book About author Taboo. Here at A Kid's Company About, we make podcasts, but also books, classes, and even more for kids just like you. We've got a really special upcoming book that I think you'll love. Here's our author sharing a sneak peek.
Hi, my name is Soraya Sutherland, and I am the author for the Kids Book About Safety. This is a book about having hard conversations about what we're going to do in situations that can be really scary sometimes. But it's those conversations that are so important for us to be having now so that we are prepared when something bad does happen to respond in the right way.
Learn more about A Kid's Book About Safety by visiting akidsco.com.